About a minute until folks get here. Looks like folks are queuing up. It's very grainy. I'm going to start. This is, as I put in the note, this is a bit of a test. We're actually remote setting up the race for Sunday. And this was the first time that we wanted to test this out. So this a little bit. I don't know that it's the best technology platform because I can't necessarily see heads shaking back and forth like we normally do. We did on this platform just because we expected a lot of people and we didn't know we wanted to make sure we included everyone. If you want to ask a question, feel free to put it in the chat on the right hand side. That's where I see it in the lower right, and we can do that. I'm going to go through. First of all, my name is Tom Richmond, and on Sunday morning I'll be your race director. I'm one of the folks that's been sending you notes. This race we've done for 3 years. The race has actually been applied to Rey for many years. I think it ended in 2016, and we brought it back in 2021, 2022, and then now 2023. So on Sunday morning, all of the activity happens there, with the exception of the swim clinic, which was an add-on when you signed up for the race, or you could go back and run sign up, and you can sign up for the swim clinic. I believe we hit capacity, which was 125 folks, which is a lot to have out there doing ocean swim. I encourage people to do that. There are people that are using our free transfer deferral and bib swap program. So some of those folks signed up for that, and they do come out of that program, and then we obviously it opens up that space for somebody else. So I looked as early as yesterday, and there's a lady yesterday, and there were still a couple spaces left on that Saturday morning 7:30 swim clinic. I think if you're a first timer, if you're not comfortable with open water swimming, ocean swimming, you and you're in the area, you definitely want to make your way to Dockweiler Beach Lot 2, and get there by 7:30. Make sure you sign up. We do check in. We just can't have more than our permit allows, which is 125 people. But let's talk about Sunday morning. 35% of the folks are first timers. So if you're a first timer here, um, that's what you should be doing. You're probably a little nervous. I know folks that are experienced that are going to be nervous. I'm always nervous before a race. I'm always happy to have the day go as planned. We have on the schedule, there's really three places that you'll want to spend a little bit of time prior to getting there. The race page has pretty much everything. But what you want to focus on is you want to focus on the schedule. There's a link on there, schedule. It has the full schedule you need. And then you also want to look at the course. It has the swim course, the bike course, the run course. Those courses are actually pretty easy as compared to maybe one of our other 20 races. And I'll go into that a little bit later. And then there's an FAQ. So there's about 2,100 words there on the FAQ, and those are super helpful. We don't want to make it 20,000 words because basically our athletes wouldn't read it. But there are 2,000 words in there. And I think we're there. We know that athletes are going to make mistakes at our races. That's pretty common. We're not there to try to penalize people. We're there to try to make sure they have a fun day. But there are exceptions with that. One, just leave the headphones at home. Athlete headphone, it's basically day over if you bring your headphones on the course. The second one is we're on the bike course. About 70 to 80% of that course is actually closed to other vehicles. There are parts of it that are open, but there are police officers at every major intersection. et cetera, et cetera. It's pretty bad live in the live stream. Yeah, if it is, sorry about that. Doing our best. We're remote on site, and when you're remote on site, it just is what it is. So the the schedule is online, and all you have to do is take a look at the schedule. Um, the packet pickup is listed at 7, but we'll be ready to have pickup at 6:30. And so if you want to get there early, we certainly encourage it. Parking is in lot 2, packet pickup is in lot 2, the transition's in lot 2, and then additional parking is in lot 1. Um, um, okay, I'm seeing notes for lag. Is it still worthwhile to do? Let's test, and if there isn't, just asked a question about, I'm seeing 4 notes. Is this all to do? Yes. Okay, you can get. Um, so I was there at 6:30. There is a parking fee. I believe it's $9. I would just bring cash. That just makes it a lot easier for you to get in. We don't collect that $9. That's not our $9. That's the Beaches and Harbors $9. So if it was up to us, it would be $0. But you're going to come into Dockweiler Beach. It's very easy to get there in the morning. I know there's races in LA County on the beach. You got to get there at 4:30, 5 o'clock. You do not have to do that for this race. You want to get there at 6:15, walk over, go to the bathroom. We will start packet pickup at 6:30. Packet pickup is literally feet from the transition. You'll go into the transition area, and it's open racking. There's signs that say swim in, run out, bike in, bike out. They're very similar to the last year. I don't think there's any changes to that. You'll get everything in the packet you need. There's a running bib. There's a bike and helmet sticker. There's a wristband. You want to put the wristband on right away. You'll have your race shirt, your medal, your swim cap. Gosh, even if you're doing a run, bike, run, or a 5K, you still get a swim cap. And but you want to put that wristband right away, and then you want to head over to transition and find a space. It's 6 athletes per rack. The racks are 10 foot long, and there's 3 typically facing. And for the sprint athletes at 7:50, that's when we'll have swim warm up. Maybe even earlier. I would head down there 7:45. Highly encourage you to do the swim warm up, and then at 8 o'clock, we'll start off with a collegiate wave. And then 5 minutes later, we'll let them go. There's about 150 collegiate athletes, UCLA, UC Santa Barbara, UCSD, UC Irvine, a lot of collegiate kids. They're fast. They get out early. They 400 yards in the water. Then they're basically doing the sprint, but they're a little bit early. Right after them, we let them all get out of the water. Right after them, we do the age group sprinters. And then 20 minutes later, after they get out of the water, we do the Olympic athletes. So relative to the swim course, it is online. There's Ride with GPS file. If you want to go to Ride with GPS, you can actually trace it. We do about 20 plus races a year, and I think some folks are just visual. So in the morning, right before the race, we're going to stand right in front of the finishing arch, and we're going to point those out and say, this one's the first one, right shoulder, left shoulder. We're going to point all those out. We never have anybody get lost out on this swim course. Just doesn't happen. But it's an area where people are always really concerned. So the buoys are really big and nobody gets lost. So I think you can just sort of put that one away. After you get done to swim, the bike is, like I said, it's, the turn by turn there, the course is there. There's police officers all over the place. If you even want to know where they are, we put those on the map. So you can know exactly where the police officers are. This race it's very wide, it's very open. It's really ideal. It's Los Angeles. There's an occasional pothole, so I would definitely do heads up. But it's also multi-lane, so it's not like you're forced to ride your front tire into a pothole. We really don't have any accidents here. I don't think we've had any on this course. But you still should, mind you're on a road. When you finish, the sprint athletes are going to do 1 lap, and then the Olympic athletes will do 2 laps. And again, the course for both the sprint and Olympic are on there. When they come back in, you'll come back into the second parking lot, and you come back in on the second parking lot. The run course is northbound. So biking, you have to think about it. The beach is lot 2. The biking is southbound. The running is always northbound, and they don't cross. So the run will be northbound 1.55 miles. There'll be a U-turn at the top of the access road, Marine Avenue, before it hits the bike path. You'll flip back around. You'll come back southbound, and you'll go straight for the arch, and your sprint will be over. If you're doing the Olympic, we bring you right back almost to the finishing arch, and then there's a 10K turnaround sign with a volunteer there. So we get you really close back in, and then where everybody's excited and having a great time, having some food, and we just turn you back around and make you do another 5K. It's kind of mean of us. That's kind of it. When you finish, you can take your bib number and you go in and you put it in the system, and you'll get a printout. The results are live. You don't have to wait 10 minutes. You don't have to wait an hour. You don't have to wait 2 days. The results are there, and they're live. They're real time. Now the photos typically take a couple days. So by Tuesday, we put them up on our Flickr page. If you'd like to know where those are, you can just go to the CaliforniaTriathlon.org page, upper right, Flickr, or look it up, and you can subscribe to it. And then when those get dropped, you get them, or just look at them on Tuesday. No need to send me a note on Sunday or Monday looking for the pictures. They'll be up on Tuesday. Let me go through some of the questions I see here. We got past the lag part, so that's good. Will there be someone to leave our post-race clothes gear during? Yeah, Mark, you'll want to leave that at the in your transition area. So we have security around transition. So only athletes are allowed in transition, no coaches, no friends of the family, no kids, nothing like that. And so it's fairly safe inside that area. I wouldn't bring a gold bullion, bar of gold or anything, leave it in there. Might not be the best decision, but you can leave yourself in transition in there. How do I know where to swim? Kai, so in the morning we'll do a briefing, but there's buoys. There's 6-foot buoys out there. If you want to get a better feeling of that, go take a look at the photos from the previous years. Do that for any race, and you can see exactly what you're looking at for buoys and the visuals. But we'll stand in front before the race, and I'll point at them and tell you that's the first one, that's the second one, and you go right shoulder, come back, that kind of thing. And so you won't have any problem finding out where the buoys are. The average time for swimming, whole thing, I don't know what the average time is, but I know the cutoff time for the sprint is about, you have to be done in 20 minutes. So the load time is about 4 minutes. So you have to be at 4 minutes on the 100 swimmer. We have athletes that are 1 minute on the 100, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. 4 minutes is about that cutoff. For the Olympic, it's 15 minutes. So that's about 3 minutes on the 100 cutoff with the load time factored in already. If you don't think you can make 3 minutes, but you can make 4 minutes, you'll want to switch your event from the Olympic to the sprint. If we do have, occasionally we have a couple people, 1 or 2 people that don't make the swim times. What we do is we take a picture of bib number, your wristband, but we encourage you to keep doing the bike and run. Even though you didn't finish the swim in the time, we like to make sure the suffering continues. And we're not really trying, those are guidelines. We're not really trying, if you're 5 feet, 10 feet, 10 yards from the finish, we're not going to DNF you. Most of the time, the folks that are missing the swim cutoffs, if it's a 400-yard swim, they're not even at 200 yards in 20 minutes. And, it's just not safe to have them in the water at that point. So we make the decision to pull them. Average time for swimming, there you go. I signed up for the swim run. How many miles is the swim? So I don't know which one you signed up for, the Olympic or the sprint, but I would encourage you to go to the course maps, and those are listed there. The routes are actually there as well. Again, if you got in a little bit late, you're going to want to know the school, you're going to want to know the course, and go to the FAQs. But if you're doing the sprint swim run, it's 400 yards and a 5K, and the Olympic would be 0.93 miles and a 10K. And those distances and the exact routes are on the course map. So if you're asking those questions, my guess is you haven't looked at the course map, and you really have to start drilling in on that over the next 3 days. Is the UCLA event Olympic distance? It is a sprint distance. So it is 400 yards for the swim. It is the bike course, I believe, is 12.6 miles, and it's a 5K. So it's the same as last year's. The swim course, I see the note from Jacqueline, came in late. It's possible to walk through the swim course. You really want to go to the maps on Ride with GPS, and you can trace underneath the map and actually trace the dot. There's an orange dot which traces you from the entire route, buoy to buoy to buoy. You're going to have to slow down and go and just spend the time to do that. But again, on race morning, we cover that with athletes in front of the buoys that go to this buoy, that buoy, right shoulder, left shoulder. And so I wouldn't get too struggling about the tech, especially if you're doing the sprint. It's 2 buoys, and it's a triangle of 400 yards. So it is in no way complicated. It's very easy. Are there time cutoffs for the sprint, bike, and run? Allison, yeah. Make sure you go to the schedule. It's on the race page. Click on the schedule, and you'll see the time cutoffs. I believe for the you asked for the sprint, bike, and run. There's for the swim, it's 20 minutes. You have to be off the bike by 11 o'clock, and the run, you'd have to be done by 1. We have never in the history of our series had somebody not, almost impossible to get cut off on the bike or run as a sprinter. It's in the cap schools. We have a bike up there. Teach will be there. It's a new little bike shop in Long Beach. They'll be there to help with minor things. Will come out and bring you back in. But if he brings you back in, pretty much your day's over. So I would definitely be able to change a flat. Make sure you get to should we pin the bib to the run shirt and leave it with the bike, and then once done with the swim is. And I invest in one. If it's not mine, go and get one. But if you were, it has to be facing forward. How that's mounted is sort of up to the athlete, whether ends or race belt. Cutoff times for biking, running too. Yeah, so there is swim, bike, and run cutoffs for both the sprint and Olympic. I'm going to direct you to the schedule. So if we're doing the sprint, your race starts at 8. At 8:20, all the athletes would have to be about 20 minutes. It's 8:20. The bike cutoff's actually 11 because it's the same for the sprint and Olympic minutes to go 12 miles. I think most folks could do that maybe running. So you shouldn't have any problem with that. And then you'd have an additional 2 hours to do a 5K. So, there's no problem with that. On the Olympic, you start at 8:20, you're out at 9:10. Then you would have an hour 50 minutes to do the lick. So if 12, 25 miles, so it's probably 13, 14 miles an hour. And then you would have the additional 2 hours to do a 10K. Again, not really an issue, I think, for a race. So I've covered a lot of the questions already. This was done as a test last minute. You guys probably got a note for Victoria. If you have other questions after this, please send them to info@californiatriathlon.org. And there's going to be a lot of questions. I just put that address in there. There's a lot of questions that come up on race morning. My recommendation is just kind of fun with it, and get a chance to come to swim clinic on Saturday. That's super helpful. What I would plan right afterwards is I would plan to if I was you, a bike, see it. I've always done that with any of the races that I've done as an athlete. It's probably worth the 20 minutes, 30 minutes it would take to do that. So that would be big advice, is to just make sure you have fun. Make sure that you're going to make mistakes. To just make sure you have fun. Make sure that you're going to make mistakes. Athlete, every pro makes mistakes. Every beginner certainly makes mistakes, and not to let them. If say for instance Saturday you just, gosh, I've got COVID. I pulled my hamstring. The weather's looking perfect, but just say it was for some reason you didn't want to race. Cal-Tri Events, as you probably are aware, has an unlimited transfer deferral bids for program up until midnight of the night before the race. Pack will already be built, and et cetera, et cetera. You just transfer that to 2 weeks from now, Newport, or any of the races next year. Was flexible as is available. So you think of the folks that are out there, the organizers, the volunteers, LAPD, the beaches and harbors, the lifeguards. Think about, and hopefully you'll come and smile and have a good day. A smile goes a long way. Fixed gear bikes. So fixed gear, no, because they don't have brakes. And that's in the FAQ. That is covered in FAQ. Recumbent, yes, but not fixed gear. Charles, I see your note. Can anyone hear anything? Sorry if you can't hear anything. Again, I was asked to jump on and do a test, and doing best efforts. Yes, you should bring your own tools and be able to change a tire. We do have neutral sport. Okay. Right. Where do folks go for relays? Relays, well, they pick up their packet like normal at registration, but they do all the exchanges at inside transition. And if you want to see where the transition area is, there's a map in the transition area. That's on the course map page 2. It just says staging. Oh, I did see a question up there. How much time is typically between the swim start? Yeah, that's a good question. So we typically do about 3 swimmers every 3 seconds. So about one athlete, about 60 athletes a minute. So yeah, so that's about it. So if there's 120 athletes in the we're talking about 2 minutes to load those folks in, or 180, about 3 minutes to load those folks in. That's a great question. Where do we provide our 100-yard swim time? In the morning, we do it that time in the morning. So there would be signage up there that says 100 a minute, minute 32, 233, and you can line up on that. And we do that right after we have a course talk. So not too many people jump in at the 1 minute. There's a few. It starts getting pretty thick at the 2:32, 2:30, and then it kind of get a little thinner back. They go a couple at a time. We don't ask for that information online because folks who register a year ago, gosh, they might have a much different swim time now. And then the questions would be, where do I change my swim time? We do that on race morning, and we do that, like, for instance, the Newport race will be 1,200 athletes. This is, I think, 675. So it flows pretty well. We do 22 times a year. Yeah, Kai, I saw your note about if you can do 100 yards in 2.5 minutes, that sounds like you'd be able to make the Olympic fine. But what I do recommend for athletes who are worried about cutoffs, swim cutoffs especially, if you're worried about the cutoff for the Olympic, transfer to the sprint, because that's one less thing you have to worry about on race morning. And I want to make sure you have a successful day. And yes, swimming in the ocean is not going to be as quick as yards. It depends on how much you practice ocean swimming. Some folks have very little degradation, pool swim to ocean swim. Other folks, if you sign up for the swim clinic on, is the 100-yard swim time based off swimming in a pool? Yes, Allison, it is. Yep. So it's for this. It's, can you swim 400 yards in the ocean in 20 minutes? And can swim 0.93 miles in the ocean in 50 minutes. Those are the parameters. But I think you guys are, unless we have a very different swim crew than previous years, we really don't have a lot of people get pulled out of the water. So I'm not that concerned unless we're definitely playing a different kind of athlete right now. Maybe one or two in the sprint and the Olympic. But like I said, if you're worried about it and you're in the Olympic, I'd switch to the or even a 5 or 10. So there's options. I would love the remaining folks on here, if you don't mind, to put a number in the chat. One being to set this up. I'm not impressed. What's nice is when I asked that question, it supposedly froze. The last question, please rate the tech from 1 to 5, with 1 being bad and 5 being amazing. Guys, thanks for being part of a little experiment this morning or this evening. I will stay on in case anybody has any questions to the end. I appreciate your time. And like I said, this was never planned. We didn't plan to do this. And but I wanted to kind of test it out and see if this format would work. No harm, no foul. Nobody paid extra for anything. So Jessica, I see a 2. I think that's probably generous, but I'd love to see some more times if you get a chance, or some more ratings on the tech if possible, just so I can get that back to those folks. Froze a lot. Yeah. Thanks. I'm glad it was good info. I just think that the tech could be better. 1, Dina, you're a tough room, but I like it. No, it is what it is. I'll get back to those. So I see 1 from Mark H again. So I'll make sure to print screen. I'll make sure to send that. Design of the medals with the name of the city. So the race for our whole series, Claudio, is the same medal for our entire series, and the names of the city are on the ribbon. So it's Los Angeles on the ribbon. Electric shifter, fine. Yes, electric shifter is fine. E-bikes are not. Yeah. Great question, Aaron, on the spectators. I would have them start at the swim start and then move to the finish line. Never have them drive on the bike. Okay. Lawrence, thanks for the content. Appreciate it. One for deliver. Thanks for that. We'll definitely get that. We'll definitely get that back to the tech folks. I think that's about it. I'm gonna hang out. There's not that many people left. But again, I'll answer questions as long as folks have them. We are there to try to make sure you have a successful day and successful morning. It's a great community, super supportive, very fun. You know, bring the family, bring the friends, all that good stuff. Steven, for every event, does first place only get medals? Every athlete gets a finisher medal. Take a look at the FAQ for that question and also the top overall awards. Does the parking fill up, or is there plenty of parking? Parking, there's lot 2, which will fill up, and then lot 1, which is south, which likely will not fill up. If it does, then lot 3, plenty of parking at Dockweiler. And I'm going to go put the FAQ on the again, it's only there's a lot of stuff on there. You might be looking for one thing and find something else, but the FAQ is on there. Guys, thank you. Oh, the swim clinic is too close to the registration cutoff to change races, right? To use the swim clinic to Gabe. No, you can change your distance. You can change your event at registration on Sunday morning. Yeah. The timer can do it. Yeah, I just typed it because I didn't know if it was frozen with the tech and stuff, but I did read that note, Lawrence, and yeah, you can do that, Tim. Yeah. Yeah, we never want you stuck in a race like, oh gosh, you know, I want to do this race. We want you to be super flexible. That's why we have 14 options for you. Thank you guys so much for everything. Again, really sorry about the tech. I'll let those folks know. And for Newport in 2 weeks, we'll have a better tech solution. And have a great day. And see some of you at the swim clinic 7:30 on Saturday. See the rest of you guys at 6:30 on Sunday.